Welcome back, history lovers. Today, we're embarking on a journey through time to explore the world of the Thracians, one of the most enigmatic and influential peoples of ancient Europe. While they often get overshadowed by their more famous neighbors, the Greeks and Romans, the Thracians have an incredible story to tell. Stay tuned as we uncover the rich and mysterious history of the Thracians. Who were the Thracians? The Thracians were an ancient collection of tribes that inhabited large swathes of southeastern Europe. They primarily settled in what is today Bulgaria, Romania, northern Greece, and parts of Turkey. First mentioned by the ancient Greeks around the 8th century BCE, the Thracians were known for their fierce warriors, their rich cultural traditions, and their close ties to the natural world. However, unlike many of their neighboring civilizations, the Thracians never formed a centralized state or empire. Instead, they were a confederation of independent tribes, each with its own customs, rulers, and laws. What set the Thracians apart was their ability to navigate a world of constant warfare and diplomacy. Surrounded by powerful neighbors like the Greeks, Scythians, and Persians, they managed to carve out their own identity. Their society was largely rural, and they didn't build massive cities like the Greeks or Romans, but they were excellent at adapting to the mountainous, forested terrain of the Balkans. The Thracians' reputation as fearless fighters made them both feared and respected by their contemporaries. But Thracians were also deeply entwined with myth. One of the most legendary figures in Greek mythology, Orpheus, the musician who could charm animals and even the gods, was said to be a Thracian. Spartacus, the gladiator who led a slave revolt against Rome, was also of Thracian descent. These figures give us a glimpse into the Thracian psyche, both mystical and fiercely independent. Fun fact, Herodotus, the Greek historian, famously claimed that if the Thracians could ever unite under a single ruler, they would be the most powerful people in the world. Where did they come from? The Thracians' origins stretch back to the Bronze Age, when Indo-European tribes began migrating into the Balkans. By 2000 BCE, Thracian culture had started to take shape, and they gradually expanded their territory across what is now Bulgaria, Romania, and northern Greece. The geographical location of the Thracians put them in a prime position to interact with, and sometimes clash with, great civilizations like the Greeks, Persians, and later the Romans. Living in the mountainous and heavily forested regions of the Balkans, the Thracians developed a culture deeply connected to nature. Unlike the Greeks, who valued city life, the Thracians were rural and semi-nomadic. Their villages were fortified, their economy based on farming, animal husbandry, and metallurgy. Thracians were also highly skilled metalworkers, producing ornate gold and silver items that would later be uncovered by modern archaeologists. Thracian tribes were constantly interacting with outside powers. They often served as mercenaries, lending their military prowess to whichever empire paid the most. Greek and Roman historians portray them as fierce and unpredictable fighters, but this is only one part of their story. The Thracians had a vibrant culture, with deep-rooted religious traditions, stunning craftsmanship, and impressive burial practices that would inspire awe centuries later. Fun fact, one of the most stunning archaeological finds related to the Thracians is the Panagurishte treasure, a collection of opulent gold vessels discovered in Bulgaria, dating back to the 4th century BCE. What were the Thracians known for? When we think of the Thracians, their warrior culture is one of the first things that comes to mind. Thracian soldiers were renowned throughout the ancient world for their combat skills, particularly in guerrilla warfare and cavalry tactics. Thracian warriors are often depicted in ancient art wearing distinctive helmets, armed with small, crescent-shaped shields, and wielding curved blades called sassi. These deadly weapons were perfect for close-quarters combat and made the Thracians fearsome opponents. In addition to their martial prowess, the Thracians were master horsemen. Horses were not only tools of war but also symbols of wealth and power. Thracian chieftains were often buried with their prized horses, believing that these animals would accompany them into the afterlife. The Thracians perfected mounted warfare, using their horses to outmaneuver enemy armies on the rugged terrain of the Balkans. But Thracians weren't just warriors, they were also known for their intricate craftsmanship. Thracian artisans produced some of the most beautiful metalwork in the ancient world. Gold and silver objects, especially those used in religious rituals, were highly ornate and filled with mythological imagery. Thracian art offers a window into their spiritual beliefs, particularly their reverence for nature and their gods. Fun fact, The Thracians were so passionate about their wine that Greek writers noted how they drank it undiluted, unlike the Greeks, who mixed their wine with water. This barbaric habit only added to their fearsome reputation. Languages, traditions, and customs. The Thracians spoke an Indo-European language called Thracian, which is unfortunately poorly documented. Much of what we know about the Thracian language comes from ancient place names and personal names that have been passed down through Greek and Roman writings. Sadly, no extensive written records of Thracian survive today, leaving much of their linguistic heritage a mystery. However, their cultural traditions speak loudly through their artifacts and customs. Thracian burial practices were particularly elaborate. Thracian nobles were often buried in massive tumuli, or burial mounds, that contained treasures, weapons, and sometimes even human sacrifices. These tombs, many of which have been uncovered in modern-day Bulgaria, showcase the importance of the afterlife in Thracian belief systems. They believed that death was simply a transition to another existence, and they made sure their dead were well prepared for the journey. Music and dance also played an important role in Thracian rituals. According to Greek sources, Thracian religious festivals were often wild, ecstatic celebrations filled with music, dance, and sometimes even frenzied behavior. This ties into the myth of Orpheus, the Thracian musician who could charm even the gods with his melodies. Music was a vital part of Thracian life, not just for entertainment but also as a way to connect with the divine. Fun fact, the Thracians also had a peculiar tradition of tattooing. It was considered a mark of beauty and nobility in Thracian society, and many warriors adorned their bodies with intricate designs. What happened to the Thracians? The Thracians thrived for centuries, but their fate was sealed with the rise of the Roman Empire. After a series of wars and conflicts, Thracian territory was gradually absorbed into the Roman Empire, with their final subjugation occurring in the 1st century BCE. The Romans established the provinces of Thracia and Moesia, effectively ending the independence of the Thracian tribes. Over time, the Thracians were Romanized, adopting many aspects of Roman culture while losing much of their own distinct identity. However, even after their conquest, the Thracians continued to leave their mark on the Roman world. Thracian warriors were highly valued as soldiers in the Roman legions, and some of the Roman Empire's greatest military leaders, including emperors like Galerius and Maximinus, were of Thracian descent. By the time of the late Roman Empire, the Thracians had largely disappeared as a distinct ethnic group, having blended into the broader population. Today, the legacy of the Thracians lives on in parts of Bulgaria and the Balkans, where ancient Thracian sites are still being excavated and studied. Some scholars argue that modern Bulgarians may be partially descended from the Thracians, with Thracian customs and folklore still influencing local traditions today. The ancient Thracian spirit, though diluted, continues to echo through the centuries. Fun fact, Thracian horseman festivals still take place in parts of Bulgaria, where locals celebrate their connection to this ancient warrior culture with traditional games and rituals. So, that's the story of the Thracians, a fierce people who left a lasting impact on ancient Europe. From legendary warriors to mysterious musicians, the Thracians may have vanished as a distinct group, but their legacy still lingers in history and culture. If you found this video fascinating, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our future deep dives into ancient civilizations. And let me know in the comments, what ancient people do you want us to explore next? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.